I want to start creating a series of videos that I make now and then where you create with what you got. Okay, so we're going to work on some hearts today. These are some cheap watercolors I got. My kids destroyed those ones, but I still have some good Valentine's colors to use. I got these at a thrift store for 50 cents. I have my book pages, including some dictionary pages, and I'm going to show you why you want to grab a good quality paper as opposed to one that is older and brittle. We are also going to use some corrugated cardboard and these little card things that I grabbed. You could use packaging or your paper or whatever you have on hand. That's just what I had. And we're going to do some harvesting out of that magazine for some of this. So the first thing is this paper here it's really brittle when you fold it or you try and do anything with it. So typically when you wet it, it will fall apart pretty much. So that is why I like to stick to a good book page, a good dictionary or encyclopedia page. These come from some textbook. It's like almost like an onion skin paper, I guess. And these were from a math book. I don't end up using them, but the quality of that paper is pretty good, even though it looks old. So you just need watercolor, cheap paintbrush, water, and a spray bottle. I got spray bottle off of Amazon. I'll leave a link down below. It is called a continuous spray. So long as your hand is pushing on the handle, water is coming out of the sprayer. I love it for my plants, and I love it for my art, and I love to use it when I need to do my kids' hair. So I just take some colors. I got this idea from a woman off of Instagram. She made an advent calendar out of hearts. So she did this. Then she sewed two pieces together and stuck little treats in them and stamped the date, like a Valentine's advent calendar. So I thought that was pretty neat. But instead, I was going to make embellishments, although I might try something like that someday. I thought that was pretty cool, the way she stuck those little treats in there and sewed it shut. And she filled the whole page. I probably should have. I tend to make things too small. So, you're just going to have to live with my itty bitty hearts. But I did go back and make some larger ones for the sake of the video. This watercoloring is a lot of fun. I like just taking watercolor and just spreading it about like that. It is a good way to make painty paper, especially over a book page or a music page. Oh, that's another thing. You can use a music page for these hearts. A lot of the music paper isn't very brittle or pilly, how paper will pill when you get it wet. But I can guarantee you that most good quality dictionaries and encyclopedias, that paper is 100% good. But don't worry, we do use that brittle dictionary paper for other aspects of this project. So I doubled and tripled my pages up. That's that onion skin paper. I'm assuming it's what we consider to be onion skin. I don't know. It's very, very thin, very crispy and crunchy, which I love. I love the crunchiness. So I have it was like a 3,000 page book, which, is only like a half an inch thick with that thin paper. But I really liked painting on it. Like, I love how those rivers look. It's like paint rivers. I really liked how that came out with the watercolor paper. But this is just to show you that you can do stuff with virtually nothing. When I first started watching YouTube for some mixed media ideas, I was looking for ideas using tools and items that were very versatile. All right. And I didn't find a whole lot of those types of videos. I just blew these off with my heat gun and started the camera back up. So that one kind of looks like a human heart. I don't know why. It looks like guts to me. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so I didn't find a whole lot of things that you could do with, you could take one thing and do a whole bunch of things with it. I found a lot of people using tools and items for one specific project or two specific projects. But I want to show you things that you can do with things you already have and things that if you purchase them, they will have multiple uses. So like watercolor paint, acrylic paint, paint brushes, obviously, they got a million uses. Book pages, if you do any kind of book arts, you will have a million book pages that you're looking to get rid of. And I do a lot with that. So there will be more book pages coming up. Um, and these types of embellishments, they're amazing for cards. They're amazing for just about any kind of art project or mixed media style project that you want to work on. Now, when I say mixed media, I don't mean you go out and buy fancy paint, mixed media paint, and mixed media ink and mixed, no. When I say mixed media, I mean you're taking a whole bunch of crap and you're turning it into something beautiful. Okay, a whole bunch of mixed crap. You got paper and lace and paint and fabric and, stamps. You got a whole bunch of stuff. All right, so that's what mixed media is to me. It's not Tim Holtz and Dina Wakley and all those other people. Mixed media is mixing medias. Okay, although I do love those artists, but my mixed media is essentially junk art. All right. Um, I made my heart so small. I tend to do that. I either make things way too big or way too small. So those hearts are small, but we work with it. You'll see. You'll see how it comes out. Um, and I didn't make them out of all the book pages. I just used a couple different ones. And dictionary pages are pretty readily available. Most people have dictionaries and most people don't use them. And I'm pretty sure corrugated cardboard is pretty readily available. And I speed this part up because I mean, who wants to watch me, fight with cardboard? So you can rip as much of the paper off as you want or as little. The paper just adds texture and dimension. I leave a little bit on. Plus, who can rip all that crap off? But I do use it to make stamps, which that will come in another video, making stamps. And when I do the stamps, I take off a lot of the paper, but then I seal the cardboard. So, we'll get to that. But yeah, you don't need to watch this in, any slower of a speed than this because it's torture. But yeah, I end up making the hearts for these way too small. Why? I don't know. But I went back off camera and made some larger ones so you didn't have to watch me battle with corrugation again. But yeah, these ones are like way too small. They're just... what can you use these dimensional corrugated hearts for? Journal covers, card making. They are wonderful for card making. They are wonderful for art that you are going to hang. When it comes to a page, I wouldn't put corrugated cardboard on a page. That's just my preference. If you like putting dimension in your altered books or your art journals or your junk journals, you go right ahead. And they'd be beautiful for that. But the way I think of them is I use them on mostly on card making and journal covers. And when I start doing some more of my junky collages where I make them out of 3D items, I will probably use some of those. They will probably add a lot of fun to the background texture. So this is the newest Harper's Bazaar, and what I'm doing is I'm going through and cutting out all the pink and red pages, or not pages, but pieces of paper that we are going to use for our next group of hearts. I used to do this all the time. What I did was I would harvest a magazine and then I'd go through again and I'd cut out colors. And I have a homemade accordion folder that I made with a book. We'll do a video on that too. I learned that from Miss Shelley at Crafting Mamas. And I would put all of my colored scrappy bits like that, sort them, blue, red, black, brown, green, orange. And then I would make collages out of those scraps and backgrounds, and they look phenomenal. You're going to see. I love how they look. I have made like art plaques for people where I take a little plaque and I cover that and then I do something great. I put a picture on it or I write a quote on it, and I have done that as gifts and it's gone over pretty well. So I would recommend collecting colored paper. There, how about that? You have another thing to collect, right? As if you need that. So yeah, just tearing up the bits, and I cut around the edges of the white bits, you know, so that when I rip them into pieces, there's not a whole lot of white hanging out. There is going to be some other colors. It doesn't necessarily need to be 100% red. There might be a little black. There might be a white button. There might be something from a shirt or a pants or a person's face. Who the hell knows? But yeah, it's a good contrast. It's a good mix, and it comes out really great. One project that I do with it a long time ago that I used those papers for, I made an American flag, which was pretty cool. I made it for a veteran that I knew, and he was very appreciative of that plaque. Um, and then I'm just gonna take it and glue those bits all you know, willy-nilly. Just throw them on there. Go off the edge. Don't go off the edge. Whatever you want to do. Luckily, this little card size that I have a couple of them, and I do collage them off camera. But I recommend going off the page and then cutting them, and that size there would be great to cover on a card. So now this is the embellishing part. Those are all the hearts I made, including my larger corrugated ones. Those are eyelash trim, jute, stamps, book page, fiber. You know, you could use yarns and lace. That's fabric paint, regular metallic paint. The possibilities are endless with what you could use. And, you know, you could use images, markers, scrap pieces of whatever, glitter, pens, crayons, etc. You can use whatever your mind thinks of to put on there, you know, that would fit and that makes you happy. That's all I can say. All right. That is a regular container lid. It's what I use as a paint palette. Do I own paint palettes? Why, yes, I do. Do I use them? No, I do not. I use these lids because they're more versatile and they are larger. So I can add 4 or 5 colors of paint on there and make a mess if I wanted. But yeah, I enjoy that. So I'm just going to clean these up a little bit here. Just some of the scrappy paper. I take a dry brush, and this is what I love. This is what I love doing on the corrugation. I just sloop it on there a little bit. Just a little bit, see? And it's not much. And I usually do it with white, but, you know, in the spirit of the Valentine's Day, we're going to do pink. And I'm not going to waste that, so that is going to go onto a piece of paper that will later be used in collage. I don't waste any paint. I use it somewhere. So I'm sorry for my big ugly shoulder, and I'm sorry I'm playing with my shirt a lot. I got a burn on my arm, and it sucks. So you know, it takes me a couple minutes to kind of get in the flow of things, and you're going to see throughout this part I stop and think a lot. But I'm taking that bottom piece of that dictionary paper where there is nothing, and I'm going to use that to stamp on. So I grab an old stamp pad that I have. I bought this used. Somebody over inked it. They also sent me the re-inker for it, but it is so saturated. It's so saturated that the pad itself has begun, you know, it's falling off the plastic. So yeah, it's losing its grip there. So I am looking for the letters LOVE, and we are going to stamp that. And that's kind of the word I'm going to stick with for most of this. You can do whatever you want. People are going to ask me where I got those stamps. I got them from Joann's many years ago. They were in a $1.50 bin. Remember they used to have the $1, $1.50, $2 bins at Joann's? That came from a $1.50 bin. I don't know if they still have that. I haven't been to Joann's in a long time. And the last time I went, I only hit the clearance. So, yeah, I don't know if they still do that, but I have used the crap out of those stamps. It has been worth the $1.50 to me. I use them for everything. So you can use any letter stamps or don't. Use your own penmanship. I do that too. You're going to see that come up too. You know, write love. Even if you're not, you know, a letter artist, which I'm not. You know, your handwriting is unique to you, and it's art in itself. So you go, girl. You use that pen, and you make yourself a damn word. All right, I gotta calm down. So I like to add lace or fiber or fabric or something. I like that look. I like the look of the texture. Um, it's candy to my eyes and my hands. So I really like to make sure I use a lot of texture stuff. Regular Elmer's glue in that bottle, nothing fancy. You could use Aleene's. I have Aleene's to the right of me, but Aleene's and I are fighting right now due to the fact that the big bottle that I use to fill my small bottle with is all gummy. It's all screwed up, so I don't know what happened. But yeah, I play with this black eyelash trim for a minute. I have eyelash trim. If you are interested in a pack of, a few yards of eyelash trim, you just get a hold of me. I haven't been seeing it at the dollar store. I bought it at the dollar store a long time ago, but I don't need whole skeins. So I can get you a variety of colors in, I could get you a variety of different colors and let you know what I have. And I could put together a bundle of trim for you. If you're interested, just get a hold of me at my email address below or through Instagram or Facebook, also listed below. So yeah, I go around and I ink the edges of that with the regular ink. You can ink the edges with whatever, whatever you can think of. You can do paint if you want to. It's going to take a while to dry, but you go around them edges with paint. Marker, you could use shoe polish if you want the distressed look. I use my distress ink because I own it. If you own something, then use it. But yeah, I use what I have. So the next one I'm making, this is something I do. I don't know if everyone does this, but I traced the heart so that I can go around it to make a smaller heart. Okay, I don't know if that's a thing. That's just something I've always done. So I made that heart smaller to go over that larger heart. And I took my distress ink and I go around the edge of that little heart. I don't think I go around the edges of the large heart. I don't remember. It was 10 minutes ago now. I can't remember what I did. But I like it. Grungerific. And like I said, a lot of things can accomplish that. Regular ink pad, shoe polish can accomplish that. Marker can accomplish that. Maybe even some colored pencils. Your watercolor could accomplish something similar. So never, don't buy distress ink just from this one project unless you know you're going to use the crap out of it. Because I don't even use the crap out of my distress ink, and I got about 15 different colors, and I only use like 2. So just keep that in mind. This is a little piece of fabric. I love it. I've already cut it into strips. I was using it in tassels many moons ago. That bag is actually my tassel kit. I cut a whole bunch of stuff and started making tassels. But I made a whole bunch of tassels and I had a whole bunch of stuff left, so I put it in a bag and now I just pull from that bag, which is actually really convenient because then I don't got to go looking in my big, big bin of ribbon and trim. So there's my love again. I got my love and I'm going to use my Distress ink for this. Distress ink is not permanent, so if you use wet medium, it will move. If it's dry, it does become more permanent, but if it's not 100%. And I know this because I've wiped it off with a baby wipe to wipe excess glue, and the ink has shifted when it was definitely dry. So yeah, not in this video, but in previous projects. That paper is still wet and I got little brown fingerprints everywhere, so I had to rip off my little fingerprints and put my, get that fitted to my little heart there. So these little sentiments and stuff, it's nice. And another thing you could do is you can stock up on them. I have done that. I have like a card, chipboard type card that I have punched out or die cut or hand cut, and I have stamped sentiments and words on it. I created my own list of positive words, which is very easy to do by using the Googles, to create your own list to stamp with, because stamping annoys the crap out of me, I'm not going to lie, so I try and do it all at once. This is simple. I'm just going to use that little pinkish peach color fabric, put my love on there, and is this the one I add the heart to the heart? I don't remember. I don't remember what I did, y'all. Like I said, that was 5 minutes ago now. Yes, I'm going to add a heart with my wipe off piece there. It's going to be a little bitty. Now I draw my template, but I don't cut that. I never do. It's like a sickness. It's like I just draw it just to look at it, and then I do my own thing. So yeah, I'm pretty close on this one though, but most of the time I'm not close at all. So, and then it sucks when you're trying to cut the last little corner off and the paper folds instead of slides under your scissors. So that was working against me. So little bitty heart. If you have punches, you go right ahead and use those punches. I don't mind cutting them out. You know, I don't mind cutting anything. I fussy cut all the time. So yeah, if you don't like fussy cutting, just remember you're cutting out one little heart. Okay, you can do it. I got faith in you. But I'm going to attach the little heart to my larger heart, and I'm sorry, it's not very close up. I'm sure you can zoom the video in and see it, but I don't, you know, I didn't realize how far away I was there doing that. And then I put my glue bottle over the first one so that they would dry, so that it would flatten out and dry. Here is one of my watercolor ones, and I love this look of the watercolor on it. So this one I am going to go through it, and I make I add something to it and then change my mind. And I'm going to speed that process up so that you don't got to watch me screw up, but I still am going to leave it in the video so that you can watch me screw up and know that even I make mistakes. And I am going to use that fabric paint. I just made lines with a Sharpie. They didn't show up that well. I was kind of mad. But you could do a paint pen, or you could even do acrylic paint to embellish with pen. Just remember that if you use a Sharpie or a permanent marker of any sort, it does not like to go over acrylic paint very much. It will do it, but it won't be happy. So I'm going to take this puffy 3D fabric paint. That, by the way, I bought in a lot of paints for $1. I got about 8 bottles of paint for $1, and this was in it. So you really take a gamble when you buy used paint. But I checked them out first to see if they were still liquid. The only thing I wish is that I checked them all out, because there were a few I thought were new, but they deceived me. They just still had the wrappers around the top, and they were about 2/3 full. But anyway, I go and I darken my lines back up with my pen. Again, I would probably use my paint pen next time, but you can take a very small, thin paintbrush, or a stick of some sort that you could just dip into black paint and make a line. So I'm doing that to make it look like it was sewn, like the woman did on that Instagram video I watched. And I'm going to try an art around that wet crap. So there I am reading the bottle going, oh great, it takes 4 hours till it's set up. So I'm like, I ain't going to wait no 4 hours. So I stop and I think about it, and I'm planning on my next heart. And then I said, you know what? I am going to just try an art around this garbage. And I try. And it doesn't work. So spoiler alert, it doesn't work. But you're going to see that. It's very exciting to watch me screw up. First, I am going to try and make a heart that will fit inside of that heart, like I did on the last one. But I've speeded up to ×8 so that you don't have to see the painful stuff that I do. But you know what? I fix it and make it look good, and it all ends up good in the end. I wipe it with a baby wipe. And that's the good thing about the mixed media stuff, is that you can do whatever you want to it. And if you don't like the way it looks, throw some lace on it. Throw a coat of paint on it. Put another piece of paper over it. You know, there are so many things you can do to avoid having to throw it away. To throw a project away. Don't get me wrong. I've thrown plenty of projects away, but you don't necessarily have to. And this looks just fine after being baby wiped, and then I'm going to go over it again and fix that and put that fluffy paint on there. So yeah, stay tuned. It's coming up at some point. But I really enjoy doing these hearts inside of hearts inside of hearts, and I really like the way it looks. I'm thinking that if you had different pattern paper, whether it's scrapbook or a painty paper, that would also look good in there, you know, in whatever colors you want or whatever, you know, contrasting design. I think it would look pretty good. So I'm editing, I'm editing my heart. I'm fixing my heart to be a size that I think would work for what I have in mind. What is it that I have in mind? I have no clue, but I know that I'm going to do something with something, and this heart's got to be in the right place. So I'll move it up a little bit, and I love the way that looks. It's just so stankin' cute. But, so there I am thinking. I do a lot of that thinking, a way I can accomplish what I'm aiming to do. So on this one, I take a scrap of my anthology book paper, that textbook, and I write love, and I write it all funky, you know, wonky, and I actually really like how it looks. So, you know, just remember, your own writing can be perfect. Even if you think you don't have good writing, practice writing a word a few times and then do it. But I was just happy with it. That word came out as nice as it did. And I really think that your handwriting could be one of your best art tools. So I'm going to destroy this piece of lace, thinking that I might be able to make it work. But this wasn't what I had in my vision. You know, the vision that I don't know I have in my head, the one that I don't know what I'm actually going to do, but I know it's something. Yeah, well, the lace didn't work, and I tried trimming it and cutting it apart, and I just made a mess of it. So that's not really a keeper. That piece of lace can't be used. Not even in my little scrap piece, because it is all falling apart. But, you know, you do find things. You do come across things to use. So I take my scissors and I go into my little trim bag there. And I figure it out. You know, a little bit of pink eyelash trim. The fibers on that's like really long. It's like a baby pink. It's kind of hard to see. It almost looks white, but it's like a baby pink color. And I like to put that underneath things. I like those little fibers sticking out. So that's what I do. I put it underneath my love. And that paper is so thin that it forms right to whatever I'm going to glue it to. And it stayed put. So far, anyway. I mean, you know, this is only a few minutes ago, so it might fall apart tomorrow. I can't make any promises. But I do like how that came out with the eyelash trim. I just like the dimension. I like the texture. How many times have I said that now in this video? So this is kind of like my style, I guess. I like adding things, to make things. And I'm going to put that heart aside for a second. But then I remember that godforsaken puffy paint. I got to put it on there. So this here, I'm looking for my black paint. I have big plans for the black paint, okay? And I'm like, oh yeah, that pink puffy stuff. Let's do that again. Because I love doing the same thing over and over on the same thing. If I'm doing the same thing over and over for multiple projects, like mass producing, that's one thing. But doing the same thing over and over on one tiny little heart, I piss myself off, okay? So, my collage hearts they had come out really cool. So, as you can see, that collage heart is like really, really cool. I have this red, you know, it's like a twine. I had gotten it in a bag of beads, and I really like the color. It's like really red. It's a thin crochet cotton is what it is, essentially. I call it twine because my twine comes on a roll, very similar. I punch a hole right in the middle, and I'm going to turn that there into a heart tag. Now, you can thread beads or add a bulb pin with a beading on it or whatever, and I might do that later, but I didn't for this video because I really just like the look of the tag, and I have to cover something on the back. This is a glitter glue I got many, many moons ago. Again, used. I came in a box of acrylic paint tubes, you know, them big tall tubes. Well, it came in that. So I kept it because it's black. First of all, it's like a dark gray, and I like the color of it. And I like to use it for stuff like this. It will flatten out a little bit as it dries, but it doesn't flatten out a ton. And it is considered a kid's craft glue. And I do know you can buy similar ones at Walmart in the craft section. I don't know if it's this exact one or brand or size, but I do see those glitter tubes there, and I resist buying them because I don't use them that much. So I got to stop myself. But I put my little heart together, and then I remember again, after doing the border in something wet, oh, I want to put something in the middle of that. So that's what I do. I stop and I put something in the middle of it. You know, I just can't win with the way my brain works. But this one ended up working out. I didn't have to go wiping this one off. You know, it would have been crappy. So I'm looking for my thick black Sharpie. I have one on my desk that's almost dead, but this one is in with my pen, so it's hiding on me, so I don't have time to kill it. So again, love, I write it in cursive. It's hard to see, so I darken that line up. I thicken it up a little bit. Again, you could do that with acrylic paint. You can do that with a paint pen. You can dip the end of a paintbrush into acrylic paint like a stick to make lines, like a dip pen, you know. But these are the hearts that we made on this video, and I hope you got something out of this and you enjoy. Ta-ta for now.